The stars looked calm, but something was wrong. Entire fleets of alien ships had vanished without a single signal, without a single cry for help. Whole regions of space that were once busy with trade and patrols now floated in silence. No wreckage, no survivors, just empty space. The council of the great alien empires sat in their shining halls, whispering with unease. For centuries they had ruled the galaxy, proud and confident, but this silence was something none of them could explain. One alien commander slammed his clawed hand on the table. "This is not natural. Someone has destroyed our fleets." Another hissed in disbelief. "Impossible! Who could hold such power? None among us dares to challenge the Empire." Then came a soft voice, almost mocking. "Unless it was the humans." The hall erupted in laughter, though nervous laughter at best. Humans, a small species from a forgotten corner of the stars, had never been considered a threat. They were new to space travel, weak in numbers, and had no empire of their own. "Humans," one alien snorted. "They are children playing with metal toys." But others were not so sure. Reports had surfaced, strange bursts of energy, human ships traveling faster than they should, a station glowing with unnatural light before vanishing entirely. In a dark chamber, far from the alien councils, the humans themselves gathered in secret. Their faces were tense, shadows cutting across their determined eyes. A scientist whispered, "We cannot hide forever." "They will suspect," a soldier answered firmly. "Let them suspect. We are no longer weak." The room fell silent. Everyone remembered the first discovery, an ancient relic buried deep under Mars, older than any known civilization. It hummed with a strange, living energy. At first the scientists thought it was dead technology, but when they touched it, it responded. It spoke not with words, but with power. Ships powered faster, weapons hit harder, and shields bent physics itself. Humanity had found a key to something forbidden, and they were using it in secret. But someone outside had already begun to notice. In a lonely sector, an alien patrol ship drifted into human space. Its scanners picked up unusual signals. The captain frowned. Too strong, too advanced for them. Before he could report, his ship shook violently. A human cruiser appeared, smaller in size, but glowing with impossible energy. The alien captain shouted, "Retreat! Call for backup!" But no signal left his ship. The human vessel released a pulse of light. In an instant, the alien ship froze, every system locked, every weapon dead. The alien crew screamed as their screens went black. Then, just as suddenly, the human ship vanished into the void, leaving only silence behind. The captain's last thought before darkness claimed him was chilling. They are not supposed to have this power. Back on Earth, news was carefully hidden from the public. Leaders met behind closed doors, their voices sharp with fear and excitement. "We cannot let the galaxy know," one official said. "But they already suspect," another replied. "And if they come for us?" a general asked quietly. The scientist who had first touched the relic finally spoke. His voice was calm, but his words carried weight. "Then let them come. We are ready. For the first time in history, we are stronger than them." Still, fear lingered. Even among humans, there were whispers. What if this power is not ours to use? What if it changes us? The tension grew as alien scouts kept disappearing. More fleets sent to human borders were lost without a trace. Panic began to spread through the empires. Finally, the alien council met again, this time in anger. One elder stood tall, his voice echoing through the chamber. "We must act before it is too late. If humans have unlocked something dangerous, then they must be stopped." Another council member argued, "But what if they are innocent, destroying? That may awaken a war we cannot control." The chamber erupted again, shouts and threats filling the air. But underneath it all, there was fear. That night, an alien spy sneaked into human territory. Cloaked in shadows, he crept closer to a human research station. Inside, through a narrow window, he saw it, the relic glowing brighter than ever. Humans, standing around it, not afraid but proud. He gasped, whispering to himself, "It is true. They have awakened it." But before he could escape, he felt a presence behind him. A human soldier stood in the dark, his weapon aimed steady. "You shouldn't have seen this," the soldier said coldly. The alien froze. His mind screamed to run, but he knew it was too late. In that moment, he realized the truth. Humans were no longer the prey. They had become something else, something greater. Far across the galaxy, alien fleets prepared for war, still not sure if they faced myth or reality. Yet deep down, in the hearts of their leaders, a terrible thought grew stronger. What if the silence we hear is not destruction, but the sound of humanity rising? The stars still looked calm, but everyone who gazed at them felt the same chill. Something was moving in the dark, and when it finally revealed itself, the universe might never be the same again. Long before the fleets vanished, long before the galaxy whispered about humans, something strange had been buried in silence. It was not on Earth, but under the red dust of Mars. For years, humans had searched for signs of ancient life, but what they found was far more dangerous. A team of explorers uncovered a black structure, half buried in the sand. At first, it looked like stone, smooth and lifeless. But when they touched it, the stone hummed with a sound that did not belong to Mars. "This is not natural," one of the scientists whispered. "This is built." They dug deeper, uncovering a chamber filled with strange markings that no one could understand. At the center lay a small object, shining faintly with blue light. It was cold to the touch, yet it pulsed like a heartbeat. The team carried it back to Earth, not knowing what they had awakened. In a hidden laboratory, the brightest minds of humanity studied the relic. Months turned into years, and still the object resisted all attempts to be opened, but slowly, strange changes began to appear around it. Machines powered faster, metals became stronger, and even broken circuits repaired themselves when placed. Near the relic, a young scientist stared at the glowing object one night alone in the lab. He whispered, "What are you? Why do you wait?" To his shock, the relic answered, not with words, but with a sudden burst of energy. Screens lit up with symbols never seen before. The scientist stumbled back, his heart racing. He called his team. "It's alive! It responds!" From that day, humanity's path changed forever. But the leaders of Earth made a choice. They did not tell the galaxy. They kept the relic a secret, hidden from alien eyes. Inside a dark conference room, generals and officials argued over its use. "This is power," one general said. "With this, we can stand against anyone," another replied sharply. "Or we can destroy ourselves. You don't even know what it is." The scientist who first touched the relic spoke carefully. "It wants to be used. It responds to us, not to them. Maybe it has been waiting for humanity." A silence fell across the room. Finally, the leader of the council leaned forward. "Then we must guard it. If the galaxy learns, they will crush us before we understand it." So in shadows, humanity built ships armed with new energy, weapons that bent physics, shields that absorbed fire. They tested in secret sectors, far from alien eyes. But every time they used the relic's power, strange signals rippled through space, and someone else had begun to notice. Far away, in the chamber of alien scholars, records were examined. Old legends were brought forward. One elder trembled as he read from a forgotten tablet. "It is the same," he whispered. "Long ago, another race touched this power. They vanished. Entire systems burned." Another scholar hissed, "And now the humans have it." Fear spread among them, but pride stopped them from speaking too loudly. After all, humans were still seen as weak. Yet deep down, the elders knew the silence of the missing fleets was no coincidence. Meanwhile, on Earth, doubts grew even among the humans. Soldiers who fought in training with the new weapons felt strange effects. One man dropped his rifle and said, "It's like the gun knows what I want before I pull the trigger." A woman in the lab confessed quietly, "I dream of stars I've never seen. When I sleep near the relic, I hear voices, not human voices." The scientist who first awakened it began keeping secrets from his own people. He stared into the blue, glow at night, whispering questions. Sometimes the relic answered with images, visions of battles across galaxies, empires falling, and a shadow darker than space itself. One night, the relic pulsed so strongly that the entire lab shook. Screens flashed, alarms rang, and people rushed inside. "What happened?" a guard shouted. The scientist stood pale, clutching his chest. "It showed me the future. It showed me what will come." The general grabbed his arm. "What did you see?" The scientist looked into his eyes, his voice barely a whisper. "War. A war that will freeze the stars themselves." But before anyone could ask more, the relic dimmed again, silent as stone. From that moment, fear and greed clashed among the humans. Some wanted to destroy it before it consumed them. Others wanted to use it to rise above the empires. And in the shadows, a few believed the relic had chosen them, that it was guiding humanity to something greater. Beyond Earth, the aliens prepared as well. Scouts vanished, patrols failed to return, and rumors spread like wildfire. One alien commander spoke bitterly, "If humans control this power, then none of us are safe." Another added, "Perhaps the silence we fear is not their weakness, but their awakening." On Earth, the scientist stared once more into the relic's glow. His reflection looked back at him, but something in his eyes had changed. He whispered to himself, almost as if repeating what the relic had already told him. "They will come for us. They will try to take it, but they are too late. The power is already ours." And in that quiet room, under the blue light of something older than time, humanity's hidden past linked itself to a future of fire. The alien council could no longer ignore the silence. Too many fleets had vanished near human borders. Too many scouts had failed to return. The galaxy's rulers, proud and ancient, felt something they had not felt in centuries: fear. A general with scales on his face stood before the others. "The humans are hiding something. If they continue, they will threaten us all." Another voice rose in anger. "Then let us crush them now. Their worlds are weak, their numbers small. A single fleet will remind them of their place." The vote was quick. The decision was clear. An armada would be sent to the humans, not as a warning, but as an execution. In the cold void of space, the alien fleet assembled. Massive cruisers lined in black steel, warships glowing with energy. Their weapons could burn entire planets. To them, this was not war. This was extermination, but humanity was waiting. On Earth, inside a dark command room, leaders watched the enemy fleet approach on their screens. The tension was thick. Every second brought the aliens closer. A young officer whispered, "We cannot fight them. They outnumber us 10-1. The general's jaw tightened. "We are not fighting with numbers. We are fighting with something they do not understand." The scientist who had awakened the relic stood in silence at the back of the room. His eyes were fixed on the glowing blue crystal that powered their ships. He whispered to himself, "It is time." When the alien fleet entered human space, their commander sent a broadcast. His voice echoed through the human systems. "Surrender your worlds. Destroy your relic. If you resist, we will burn your skies." In response, a single human ship appeared. It was small, nothing compared to the alien giants, but its surface shimmered with strange light. The alien commander laughed. One ship? This is an insult. He raised his hand. Destroy them. 100 alien cannons charged, beams of fire, cutting through the void. But before they hit, the human ship pulsed with blue light. The beams bent, twisted, and vanished into nothing. Gasps filled the alien bridge. "Impossible!" one officer cried. The human ship moved, faster than any ship should. In a blink it stood behind the largest alien cruiser. Its weapons fired, not fire, not metal, but a ripple of energy that tore through steel like paper. The alien cruiser exploded in silence, its light flashing across the stars. The commander froze. His voice shook. How? How did they? Before he could finish, 2 more cruisers fell. The human ship danced between them, untouchable, unstoppable. On Earth, the officers watching the battle could hardly believe what they saw. One whispered, We are winning." The general did not smile. His eyes stayed on the screen. "No, we are surviving. Remember that difference." In the alien fleet, panic spread. Their weapons could not lock on. Their shields cracked like glass. For every human shot, a giant vessel was destroyed. The commander shouted, "All ships, retreat, retreat!" But it was too late. The humans did not chase them. They did not need to. The message was already clear. Humanity was no longer prey. When the survivors limped back to their empire, their leaders demanded answers. The commander, still shaken, spoke in a broken voice. They should not have that power. They should not. They are only human, yet they destroy us as if we are nothing. Silence filled the council. No one laughed at the word human now. Meanwhile, on Earth, the victory did not feel like triumph. The relic pulsed stronger than ever, as if awakened by battle. In the lab, the scientist touched its surface and closed his eyes. He saw visions again, fleets burning, empires falling, galaxies trembling. And beyond it all, a shadow greater than anything he had seen before. He pulled his hand back, trembling. "It is not finished," he whispered. "This is only the beginning." The general entered the room. "The fleet is destroyed. We have won the first strike." The scientist shook his head. "No, we have revealed ourselves. Now they will come with everything." The relic pulsed once more, as if agreeing. Across the galaxy, alien empires rallied their forces. What was meant to be a warning had turned into humiliation, and humiliation demanded war. The humans had shown their power, but at a price. The universe was watching now. And in the cold silence between the stars, everyone wondered the same thing. Had humanity truly awakened its own strength, or had the relic begun to use them for something darker? The galaxy did not sleep after the battle. The news spread faster than light. Carried by frightened whispers and broken signals, the empire that had once laughed at humans now sat in uneasy silence. One small human ship had destroyed an entire fleet. No one could ignore it anymore. Inside the grand hall of the Alien Council, voices rose in panic. They used forbidden power. One elder shouted, "They bent our weapons. They destroyed ships as if they were made of dust." Another said, his voice trembling. The leader of the council slammed his hand against the table. "This is not weakness we face. This is danger. If humans keep this power, none of us will be safe." For a moment, no one spoke. The truth was clear. The balance of the galaxy had shifted, and it had shifted toward the humans, but not all wanted open war. A silver-skinned diplomat leaned forward. "We must think carefully. Perhaps they will burn themselves with this power. Why should we risk our fleets again?" Others agreed. But fear was stronger than patience. "They will not burn themselves," an old general hissed. "They will burn us." Far away on a distant human station, the leaders of Earth gathered once again. They watched the chaos unfold across the stars. "They are afraid of us now," one officer said with a proud smile. "Afraid?" The general frowned. "Fear is not safety. Fear breeds hatred. They will not forgive what we did to their fleet." The scientist who carried the relic's secrets spoke quietly. "We only defended ourselves, but to them it was humiliation. They will see us as a threat, not as equals." The room fell into silence. Everyone knew the truth. Humanity had stepped into a fire that could not be put out. On alien worlds, fear turned into anger. Citizens demanded answers. Soldiers whispered about humans who could twist reality. Some races began to move their fleets, building secret alliances. Others sent spies to learn the truth about Earth. One alien spy stood in the shadows of a human city, blending into the crowd. He watched as human ships lifted into the sky, glowing faintly with the relic's strange energy. He tapped his communicator. "It is true. They are preparing for war." But before he could finish, he felt a hand on his shoulder. A human soldier stood behind him, calm but cold. "You shouldn't be here," the soldier said. The spy froze. His cover was broken, and he realized something terrifying. Humans were not just hiding power, they were hunting anyone who searched for it. Back in the Alien Council, fear turned into plans. A new voice rose, sharp and dangerous. "We must unite. If we stand alone, humans will defeat us one by one. Together, we can crush them before their power spreads." The chamber shook with arguments. Some wanted peace, others wanted war, and a few wanted to use humans instead of destroying them. But one truth tied them all together. None could ignore humanity anymore. Meanwhile, the relic pulsed stronger on Earth. In the lab, the scientist stood close to it, his face pale in the blue light. He whispered, "It knows. It feels the galaxy watching." Another researcher stepped closer. "Do you ever wonder if it is leading us? Not the other way around?" The scientist did not answer. His silence was enough. That night, he dreamed again. Visions of stars falling, voices of alien races screaming, and humanity standing alone in a burning galaxy. He woke in sweat, his chest tight. Yet when he looked at the relic, he felt something strange. Not fear, but destiny. On a distant alien planet, generals prepared their fleets. "If they rise, we fall," one commander said. "Better to strike first and end this threat." But not all agreed. A diplomat whispered to her aide, "If humans survive, they may be the only ones who can stop what is coming. The relic they use, it is older than us all." Across the stars, confusion spread like a shadow. Was humanity a savior or a destroyer? A chance for survival or the beginning of the end? Back on Earth, the general spoke to his people. "We cannot turn back. They will come for us. We must be ready." The scientist stood beside him, his eyes fixed on the glowing relic. "And when they come, they will see what humanity truly is." The relic pulsed once more, sending waves of light through the lab. Everyone stared in silence, their hearts racing. Some felt hope, others felt dread. But one thing was certain, the galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. The galaxy waited in fear. Armies moved in silence, ships gathered at borders, and every world whispered the same question. What will the humans do next? On Earth, the relic pulsed brighter than ever before. Its glow filled the secret chamber, painting the walls in cold blue light. The scientist stood close, his hand trembling. As he reached toward it, a guard stepped forward. "Don't touch it again. Every time you do, it reacts." The scientist's eyes were fixed on the glow. "It wants to be touched. It is waiting." The general entered the room, his voice sharp. "Enough. We need answers, not dreams." "What is it telling you?" The scientist turned slowly. His face was pale, but his eyes burned with strange certainty. "It is not only a weapon, it is a key to something larger than we can imagine." The general frowned. "And what happens if we turn that key?" The relic answered before the scientist could. It pulsed, sending a wave of energy across the room. Screens cracked, lights flickered, and every machine shut down. Then, slowly, the power returned, stronger than before. The guard whispered in fear, "It's alive!" At that same moment, across the galaxy, sensors screamed. Alien. Fleets felt the pulse, even light years away. Commanders shouted orders as their ships shook under invisible pressure. "What is happening?" one officer cried. The commander's face turned pale. "The humans! They have unleashed it!" On Earth, the relic began to rise into the air, hovering above its pedestal. Energy lines crawled across the walls, writing symbols no human had ever seen. The scientist fell to his knees. "It's speaking," he whispered. "It's showing us." Visions filled his mind. Stars collapsing, empires breaking, and humans standing at the center of it all. He gasped for air. "It's not just power. It's control. It can bend the laws of space itself." The general grabbed him by the shoulders. "Can we use it against the fleets coming for us?" The scientist nodded weakly. "Yes. But once it is fully unleashed, there is no turning back." Above Earth, human ships gathered in orbit. Their hulls glowed faintly, connected to the relic's energy. Pilots sat in silence, waiting for the order. Then the warning came. Alien fleets appeared at the edge of the system. Hundreds of ships, larger and stronger than anything humanity had ever faced. On the alien flagship, the commander sneered, "This time they cannot hide behind tricks, fire." Thousands of beams lit up the void, rushing toward Earth, but the humans were ready. The relic pulsed one last time, and suddenly, the human ships moved as if guided by unseen hands. The beams bent around them, vanishing into space. A pilot gasped inside his cockpit. "It's flying for me. The ship is moving by itself." The general's voice echoed through the comms. "Do not fight it. Let it guide you." The human fleet struck back. Energy waves rippled through the void, not like weapons, but like storms. Alien ships froze in place, their engines dead. Others shattered without a sound, breaking apart under invisible pressure. On the flagship, the alien commander screamed, "This is impossible! They are bending reality itself." One officer trembled. "Commander, it's not them, it's the relic." Back on Earth, the scientist clutched the glowing crystal. His voice shook. "It is not just helping us, it is testing us. It wants to see if we are worthy." The battle turned into a nightmare for the aliens. Entire formations vanished, as if swallowed by the void. Their weapons no longer obeyed. Some ships even turned against their own fleet, controlled by an unseen hand. In the human command room, officers stared at the screens in silence. One finally whispered, "We are not fighting anymore. We are gods." The general's face remained hard. "No, we are puppets, and I do not know who holds the strings." As the last alien ship exploded, a terrible silence filled the void. The stars themselves seemed frozen, as if the universe was holding its breath. The relic dimmed slightly, sinking back onto its pedestal. But its glow did not fade. Instead, it pulsed in a steady rhythm, like a heartbeat. The scientist whispered, "It has awakened fully now, and it will never sleep again." The general turned to him. "What have we done?" The scientist met his eyes, his voice calm but chilling. "We have shown the universe our true power, and now nothing will ever be the same." Across the galaxy, alien rulers watched the reports in horror. Entire fleets had been crushed without a single human loss. One elder spoke, his voice breaking. "If this continues, the humans will rule us all." Another whispered, almost in despair, "No, if this continues, none of us will survive." And far beyond the stars, something ancient stirred. The relic's awakening had not gone unnoticed. Other shadows, older than empires, had felt the pulse. They too were now watching humanity. The humans had unleashed their power. But in doing so, they had awakened something even greater. The stars burned silently, but the galaxy itself felt broken. Fleets that once ruled the skies were gone, entire empires humiliated by a species once dismissed as weak. Now everyone whispered the same word with unease: humans. In the alien council, whole fear was written on every face. Holograms of destroyed fleets floated above them, ships twisted and shattered as if crushed by unseen hands. "They froze our weapons mid-battle," one commander said with shaking voice. "They turned our ships against us. Nothing in the galaxy can resist them now." Another slammed the table. "This is not human strength. This is something else they have unleashed. If we do nothing, the universe itself will fall to them." But a quieter voice rose from the back. A silver-skinned diplomat leaned forward, her eyes cold. "Perhaps the universe has already fallen. Perhaps we are too late." The chamber fell silent. For the first time in centuries, the rulers of the galaxy had no plan. On Earth, the relic pulsed like a living heart. Its glow reached across the room, casting long shadows on the walls. The scientists stood before it, exhausted but unshaken. A guard whispered, "It's too much. We should lock it away, bury it, destroy it if we can." The scientist shook his head slowly. "You cannot destroy the tide of a storm. You cannot silence the voice of the stars. It has chosen us." The general stepped closer, his face grim. "And what if it chose us not to save us, but to use us?" The scientist's eyes flickered with something dangerous. "Then we will not be used. We will master it." The relic pulsed brighter, almost as if it had heard. Above Earth, the skies were filled with human ships glowing faintly with blue light. They waited, silent and motionless, as if frozen in time. To those who looked up from the planet below, the sight was both beautiful and terrifying. Then the signal came. Alien fleets had gathered at the edge of human space, larger than ever before. Every empire, every race, even rivals who once hated each other, had joined together. Their goal was clear: crush humanity before it was too late. In the command center, the tension was heavy. Officers stared at the screens, their hands trembling. "They outnumber us 50-1, one officer said in fear. The general's voice was steady. "Then we will fight 50-1. The scientist placed his hand on the relic. "Not fight. Show them." The relic pulsed, and the human fleet moved as one. Ships vanished from their positions, reappearing in the heart of the enemy armada. Alien commanders screamed orders, but it was useless. Weapons refused to fire, engines froze, and whole cruisers hung powerless in space. One alien shouted, "It is not war, it is judgment." The human fleet did not fire immediately. They only hovered, surrounding the vast alien armada. The silence was worse than any battle. Even the stars seemed frozen, watching in fear. Finally, the general spoke through every channel, his voice echoing across the galaxy. "We did not ask for this war, but you forced it upon us. Now you will see what humanity has become." The relic unleashed its power. A wave of light spread across the battlefield. Alien ships were lifted, twisted, and broken without a sound. Others vanished into nothing, erased from existence. In seconds, the greatest fleet in galactic history was gone. On their worlds, aliens watched the feed in horror. Billions sat in silence, unable to believe what they had seen. One elder whispered, "The universe has ended. We just did not notice when it happened." But on Earth, the reaction was not joy. The officers stood in silence, staring at the empty screens. Victory had never felt so heavy. The general turned to the scientist. "You have given us power greater than gods, but what have we lost in exchange?" The scientist did not answer. His eyes were fixed on the relic, glowing brighter and brighter, as if feeding on every victory. Then, a strange voice filled the chamber. Not from speakers, not from any human mouth, but from the relic itself. "You have proven yourselves." Everyone froze. The guard whispered in terror, "It speaks." The relic's voice was calm, almost gentle, but carried weight beyond comprehension. You are no longer prey. You are no longer weak. The galaxy will stand frozen before you, but greater shadows wait beyond. The light faded, leaving only silence. The general finally spoke. So this was never the end. This was the beginning. Above Earth, the stars looked the same, but none who stared at them felt peace. Every empire bowed its head in fear, and humanity stood at the center of a frozen universe. And somewhere, in the endless dark, something older than the relic had opened its eyes.